welcome back. As you can see, my table is full of things. I love trimming, so I just love having them all around and having piles of things. You might be a very tidy, clean person and you like things in a certain order, or you might be completely messy like me and just have it all out. But isn't it wonderful just having all your things? It's like being a bit of a magpie. Hat making is so wonderful like that, because you're creating a sculptural piece that you can wear, that's fashion, that's art. And if you're a bit like a magpie like me, then you love all your little jewels and buttons and beads and all sorts of exciting, beautiful vintage things to put on your hats. These are some lovely vintage pieces that I have got to show you here. You can get these from auction sites. A client of mine actually got me some of these, and I'll be going back to see her soon to get me some more because they're wonderful. So this is the piece that we were making before, wiring it and edging it all. And now I just want to show you some quick things to put on it so you have a nice finished piece. We will go over this more later on. You'll have a special class all about feathers and how to trim them and cut them and do wonderful things with them. And more about trimmings later on. But for now, this is just a 5 minutes on what to put on your piece. So you might want to make something like this, which I've made earlier. We've got the flower on there, we've got rolled cinnamon, some netting on there, and some feathers which we've cut. So these are stripped coke feathers. I'm going to show you how to do those. So with the cinnamon, if you want to put cinnamon on here, it's nice to roll the edges. So this one here, I've made earlier. I just cut a triangle piece because that's a really good shape to start with. I love angles, love architecture, so triangles are always really good. Now this obviously will come with the rough edge, and you want to roll this. So if you can just roll it between your fingers, up and down, keep doing that until it just breaks the fibres up a little bit, and then it becomes easier to roll. So don't fold gently as some people would. You really need to get in there and push it hard and close together and really roll it tight. So you roll it, then push it right down until you can't roll it anymore. Hold it for a few seconds and then move on to the next bit, and then roll that piece, and then hold that, and then move on, and then roll that bit, and then go backwards and just check that it's all neat and it's all rolling together. If you want to make this stronger, when you've finished, you could put a little bit of watered down PVA on there and then hold it in place until it dries a little bit. But don't roll it too much when you've got any PVA on there, because it'll start breaking up and you'll start seeing it, and you don't want to see any of the glue. I don't really use glue in anything other than the cinnamon stiffener. Don't even use it with feathers because everything you can sew together. But with this, it is good just to keep the edges down. Also, you can lick your fingers or get a little bowl of water, wipe it off so it's not your fingers aren't completely damp, just a little bit, and then roll with that because that helps as well. Roll all the way along. And then you want to do your corners, so you just keep rolling. If I just open this one up, you can see I've rolled one side and I roll it down into the other side, and then you can roll that together. So you're going one side, you're just folding it down, rolling it, and then rolling this bit over the top of it, so you get a nice corner. Now with that, you can then start putting pleats in. So maybe a twist in the middle, maybe roll this round underneath, and you can see it starts becoming organic, getting an organic shape happening here. You can twist it a little bit more, as much or as little as you want to, and then adorn it on the hat. I mean, this colour doesn't quite go with this yellow, but we'll just put it on just as an idea of what you could use. Okay? So that can be cinnamon. You can have a few pieces, one piece. You can also cut leaves out of this and just roll the edges of the leaves, even circles, and pleat that in the middle. But I like having unusual organic shapes on mine. So that's the cinnamon rolling. Then crin. So this is great. Crin just normally comes like this. If you see it in a shop, you'll just see it straight like this. But I like to put holes into it, make it a bit different. Quite architectural, especially if you have black. So that's really good, and you can scrunch that up and put that on your piece as well. So that used to be horsehair, but now it's made from plastic. Do you remember the edging that we made earlier? This one can be used as a trim. So I'm just folding it together. I fold the sides in and then together, and then I will roll this tightly around my hand, and you see that. So I've rolled it tight. I'm going to hold it for a few seconds, and then I will pull that out into a curl, and then that will look really good on the yellow. So then we can have a nice curly piece, and that'll look good on the head. So that could be another piece that you might want to add on. With your ends there, just fold them under so you get a nice neat edge. Okay, so that is cinnamon as well. Then there's netting. So you can put some netting on. It's always good to have a point coming down and then figure out what you're going to do with the back. So then I just pleat up the back and have it coming down. So always good to have things on a slant. Also put hats on your parting side. I have more hair on this side, less on this side, so I'll put my hat on here because then I can style up this side, and I'll have everything slanted because then it's always more flattering on your face. You never want your hat to be flat on your head, and it's not very flattering to have it there, but it's very fashiony. So I just think having a nice asymmetric sweep coming down is lovely. Now have it there so you've got a point. Also you could rouge it up so you can have it coming up if you prefer. So that going down, or you might want a Merry Widow. Now Merry Widow would be more of a folding it together at the top, sewing that together and then having it coming right across. In that case you need more netting so it comes right round the back. You can also get different nettings which look more vintage. You can have bigger holes, smaller holes, ones with more threads and grains and the big squares, so then you can put diamantes on them and different things. So that's really nice to play around with netting. And then we have the feathers. So these beautiful feathers here, we've got pheasant feathers, burnt ostrich feathers, Chinese pheasant feathers. Always make sure where you get your feathers from, just make sure that it's a reputable place and the birds have been treated well, because in some places you hear horror stories. So you just want to make sure that you're getting it from reputable places, and all the places I get it from, I've been assured that they are reputable. So I'll leave the list with all the other companies that you can use, and you have a look through that and then choose which ones you want to go with. So these are the feathers. This would be great on the hat, having something big and theatrical, having this coming through and having this coming round, wonderfully big. When you're sewing these on, you want to make 2 holes at the back with pins first, and then you're going to sew that on. So 2 holes with pins in here, in this stalk, because this is quite thick. If you try and get your needle in here, it might snap. So you want to actually just put 2 pinholes, and then you can use those pinholes to sew it on. And again, have it going at an angle, so I would put it here. I wouldn't put it anywhere near my eye. I would put it here, and then I bring it around the back and I would sew that down. If you can get a nice big tube, a bit like a toilet tube but much longer, then you can steam this very, very gently round and round the tube, and then you see that's how you get this sort of wiggly shape. So you would steam that very, very gently, put some elastic bands as you go up to keep it in place, leave that overnight, and then when you take it off you'll have a nice curly feather. So that's nice with those. These ones also are lovely, which are the burnt pheasant. Burnt pheasant, what am I talking about? I've been doing too many videos. So this is really nice to add on as well. Also you can add on, futuristic fabrics, the plastic I had earlier, the mask one that I was showing you earlier, which I'll get out in a minute, and put that on. You can spray on it, you can spray on the cinnamon, you can have wire on it. On one of my hats up here I have roofing felt, so you can cut that. I also have bits of metal, you can put that on. It's great just to play around with different and unusual fabrics and see what works. You just have to think about the balance of it. So keep things in odd numbers. Everything should be uneven, and everything in odd numbers, so 3, 5, 7. Don't have any more than 3 colours because it gets too confusing for the eye. And yeah, keep everything uneven. So then at the end of the day, it balances itself out. If you have 3 feathers, then that looks much better than 2, unless you're going to have it in a really animalistic way. So 3 is always good. Even if you have 2 big feathers, which is the 2, and then a smaller feather, which is the 3rd one, is fine. So just keep it odd numbers though. And you want to think about the balance. So when you have it on, you don't want to have everything all over it. You might want to have more at the bottom and then less at the top. But imagine if you had lots of flowers and different things happening at the bottom. If you also had things going up here, it's just going to be too much. So then I might have one long one to then give the balance at the top. So it's going to be something long and not something heavy. So I've got it lighter at the top, but actually this bit here makes it heavier, so it does all balance out. If I had too much up here, it would just be too messy. So maybe we could try 3. If I can keep all that together in my hands. How many colours have we got here? Maybe that one, the pink, and then we could put in a blue. And we can have one going around and the others coming off, or maybe even the other one coming around as well. So just play around and pin things on first, and then you can see what you really prefer. Pin it on, and then wherever your pins are, that's where you need to do the stitches. And you want to keep your stitches really small, so you're going up and down in the same place where that pin mark is, up and down in the same place, about 5 or 6 stitches. Keep it really tight, then knot it off at the back, just to make sure that your stitch is really small and you're not going to see it. Try and hide it wherever you can, but if you can try and keep the back as tidy as the front, then brilliant. But just practice now. If you haven't done it before, just practice with some feathers and see how you go. If you have done this before, then I really look forward to seeing what you come up with, as well as if you haven't done it, obviously, just to see what you come up with. And please put it into the Facebook group when you've finished and when you've made it. And if you need to ask any more questions, then please put that into the Facebook group, and I'll come back to you. Just quickly before we finish, here's a few feathers. This is a biot, and this one we can curl it with scissors. Keep your scissors closed and just curl it, and that gives a nice effect, and then that can go on down here and be all nice and wiggly. This one is a quill. This one you can curl it as well, but it's best to curl this with steam. But you can curl this with scissors, just the top here. This one, which is a burnt ostrich, can also be curled. So that's lovely. And this one is just a coat feather as it is, and then once we strip it, it's called a stripped coat. So I just hold the top and peel off all the mess. Just literally hold the top and peel it down. Then you've got a stripped coat. You want to put at least 3 of these together. You don't want to just use it on its own. So I would put that together with that and a few other feathers, maybe some little ones, little pinky ones I've got here. These are really nice. Just mixing the 2 colours together. So we could put some of those in as well, or you could have a nice big one. So this could go on here, and then all your feathers can sit on the side of here. side here. Okay, so you might have decided to have this style, or you might have decided to have more of a round one. It's up to you really what you wanted to cut and what you wanted to wear and what you wanted to edge. And then it's up to you what you want to put on with your feathers and different trimmings. So I just want you to have a go at doing them, and then to start getting bits and pieces and pin it on. And then you just do your stitching wherever your pins are, and then we'll see what you come up with at the end. But this class is really to show you about blocking, wiring and edging, which is a really important start, and you must cover that so that you can then move on and do other things. We're going to have other classes with lots of trimming, other classes with bigger hats, all our business classes as well. Loads coming, loads to look forward to. I hope you enjoyed this class, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Okay, thank you.